I found out my fiancé was cheating a week before the wedding. You know how people always say you never really know someone until it's too late? I used to think that was just something bitter people said after bad breakups. I was wrong. I learned that truth the hardest way possible. A week before I was supposed to marry the man I thought was the love of my life. I met Adam 5 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. He was charming in that effortless way, not loud, not showy, just magnetic. We hit it off almost immediately. Within a few months, we were inseparable. Everyone said we were that couple, the kind that seemed perfect. We moved in together after a year, adopted a dog, and slowly started building what I thought would be forever. Adam worked in marketing and he was good at it. He'd always been ambitious, the kind of person who needed to win at everything. I, on the other hand, was the calm one. A graphic designer who liked quiet mornings, coffee, and books. We balanced each other. At least that's what I told myself. When he proposed last year, it was like something out of a movie. On a rooftop, fairy lights, our song playing, his friends hiding nearby with cameras. I cried so hard I could barely say yes. And from that moment, my entire life revolved around wedding planning. I wanted everything to be perfect. The dress, the flowers, the venue. It wasn't until about 2 weeks before the wedding that I noticed something off. Adam had started staying late at work a lot, claiming he was finalizing some big client deal. He'd come home smelling like cologne he didn't wear before, and once, I noticed a faint lipstick stain on his sleeve. When I pointed it out, he laughed it off, saying it was from one of his coworkers who'd hugged him goodbye. I wanted to believe him so badly that I brushed it aside. Because what kind of bride questions her fiancé's loyalty right before the wedding? The real blow came when my best friend, Amaya, sent me a screenshot one night. It was from Instagram. A girl I didn't recognize had posted a photo in a man's shirt. The shirt looked exactly like one of Adam's. The caption said, "Miss you already winking face." My heart dropped into my stomach. At first, I told myself it was a coincidence. Maybe she had the same shirt. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But the more I stared at that photo, the more my gut twisted. I did something I'd never done before. I snooped. When Adam fell asleep that night, I unlocked his phone using the code I'd seen him type 1,000 times. What I found made my entire body go numb. There were hundreds of messages with that girl. Her name was Sophie. They'd been talking for months. Some of the texts were graphic, others just intimate, familiar. There were photos, videos, even plans to meet at hotels when he was supposedly working late. And then the worst one, a message from him saying, "Once the wedding's over, I'll figure out how to tell her. You know I love you." I sat there in the dark, shaking. The man sleeping next to me, the man I was supposed to marry in a week, was planning to confess to his girlfriend after our wedding. I didn't cry at first. I just stared at the screen, feeling like someone had swapped out my life for someone else's. My chest hurt. My hands felt cold. Everything I thought was real just cracked. When I finally confronted him the next morning, I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just handed him his phone and said, "You should probably delete those before the wedding." The color drained from his face. He started stuttering, trying to explain. It was a mistake, he didn't mean it, it didn't mean anything. I listened to every pathetic excuse, then packed a bag and left. I stayed with Amaya that night, staring at her ceiling, wondering how 5 years could end with a few text messages and a stranger's Instagram post. That should have been the end of it. I should have canceled the wedding, called everyone, and moved on with my life. But no, I wanted him to feel what I felt. I didn't want him to just lose me. I wanted him to lose everything. I spent that night awake, staring at the ceiling in Amaya's guest room, running through every possible way to handle what Adam had done. Part of me wanted to text him something cold and final, tell him the wedding was off and to never speak to me again. But another part of me, a darker part, wanted him to feel what I felt. For 5 years I'd loved him with everything I had. I'd been patient when he was busy, supportive when he struggled, and fiercely loyal. And in return he'd made a fool of me. He'd built a fantasy of love and commitment while sneaking around behind my back. So no, he wasn't going to just apologize and move on. The next morning I told Amaya my plan. She looked nervous but intrigued. "You sure about this?" she asked. "Completely," I said. "If he wants to live a lie, then I'll let him live in it, until it falls apart in front of everyone." The wedding was set for Saturday. It was now Sunday. They gave me 6 days. I didn't tell anyone what had happened. Not my mom, not my maid of honor, not even my dad. I played the role of the calm, soon-to-be bride. I sent out confirmation emails to vendors, smiled during dress fittings, and answered, "Can't wait," to every text from family. Meanwhile, I was gathering everything I needed. I started by saving every screenshot of his messages with Sophie. The texts, the photos, the voice notes. I compiled them into a neat little folder on a flash drive. Then I screenshotted her Instagram posts too, especially the one in his shirt. By Tuesday, Adam had started trying a new tactic. He showed up at my mom's house where I was pretending to stay, holding flowers. My mom was thrilled to see him, completely oblivious to what was going on. She offered him tea while he stood there looking nervous, waiting for me to come downstairs. I made him wait 15 minutes before I finally appeared. He started immediately. "I miss you. I know I screwed up. But I love you and I'll spend the rest of my life making it right." He looked genuine, broken even. And for a split second I saw the man I used to love. But then I remembered Sophie's photo. Remembered the lies. I smiled softly. "Hey," I said. "Then prove it. Let's still get married." His entire face lit up. I could tell he hadn't expected that. When he left that day he probably thought I had forgiven him. And that was exactly what I wanted him to think. Over the next few days he played the perfect fiancé. Constantly texting, checking in, telling me how excited he was to marry me. I pretended to be just as excited. But inside I was counting down the hours to the moment everything would blow up. See, the wedding wasn't just a celebration anymore. It was my stage. I wasn't going to humiliate him privately. He'd already humiliated me enough in private. This time everyone would see who he really was. Saturday came faster than I expected. I woke up that morning calm, eerily calm. Amaya looked at me while we were getting ready and said, "You're terrifying right now." I laughed. Good. The venue was a beautiful garden outside the city, surrounded by tall oak trees and glowing string lights. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. Guests were arriving, the music was soft, the photographers were bustling. Adam looked handsome in his tux, greeting guests with that same charming smile that once melted me. When I arrived, everyone gasped. My dress was simple but elegant, ivory silk with an open back. I remember my mom tearing up saying, "You look just like I imagined." If only she knew. The ceremony started right on time. I walked down the aisle, my heart pounding, but not from nerves, from anticipation. Adam's eyes were locked on me the whole time, full of adoration. I almost laughed at the performance. The vows began. He went first. His voice cracked with emotion as he talked about forever, and loyalty, and being my best friend. I almost rolled my eyes. Then it was my turn. I took a deep breath and looked at the crowd. All our friends, our families, my coworkers, his parents. Everyone who believed this was the happiest day of our lives. "I've waited for this day for years," I began. "And I thought I'd be standing here to marry the love of my life. But it turns out I was wrong." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Adam's smile faltered. "I found out something about Adam a week ago," I continued. "Something he's tried very hard to hide. But I believe that honesty is the foundation of marriage, right? So let's be honest today." I nodded to Amaya, who discreetly signaled the DJ booth. The music stopped. The screen behind us, which was supposed to show a slideshow of our photos, flickered. And then one by one the messages appeared. The screenshots. His text to Sophie. Her photos. The voice note where he said, "I'll tell her it's just work stuff, she won't suspect a thing." Gasps filled the air. His mother stood up, hand over her mouth. My mom looked at me in shock. Adam was frozen, eyes wide, face pale. "What the hell is this?" he muttered, reaching for me. I stepped back. "This," I said calmly, "is what you've been doing while pretending to love me." The crowd was dead silent. The only sound was the faint wind rustling through the trees and Sophie's laugh echoing from one of the voice notes. I turned to the guests. "I'm sorry you all had to see this. But I couldn't let everyone celebrate a lie." And then before anyone could react, I walked off. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I just walked, down the aisle, past the stunned guests, past the photographers, all the way to the parking lot, where Maya was already waiting with her car. As soon as we pulled away, she burst out laughing. "You actually did it," she said, wide-eyed. "I did," I replied. And for the first time in a week I felt light. I didn't check my phone for hours, but when I finally did, it was full of chaos. Dozens of missed calls, messages from family, mutual friends asking if it was real. Adam had texted me paragraphs of anger, shame, and finally, desperation. By that evening, the screenshots were all over social media. Someone at the wedding had filmed the entire thing and posted it on TikTok. It blew up, millions of views, comments from strangers calling me the ultimate revenge bride. Sophie even commented on one post with, "Wow, didn't think he'd get caught like that." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The next day I went to my mom's house. She hugged me the second I walked in, tears in her eyes. "You should have told me," she said softly. "I couldn't," I admitted. "If I told anyone, someone might have talked me out of it." She smiled sadly. "You got your closure, I guess." And she was right. In the weeks that followed, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone back in. That love, when it's real, doesn't leave you questioning your worth. Adam tried to reach out a few times after that. Calls, emails, even a handwritten letter. I never answered. He eventually stopped trying when I posted a photo on Instagram of me smiling, holding a cup of coffee with the caption, "Peace tastes better than wedding cake." It's been 6 months since that day. I've moved into my own apartment, started therapy, and even joined a hiking group where I met some genuinely kind people. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about how close I came to marrying him, to spending my life with someone who could look me in the eye while lying through his teeth. And every time that thought creeps in, I feel a mix of sadness and gratitude. Sadness for the years I lost, but gratitude for the truth I found before it was too late. Because the truth is, I didn't lose anything that day. He did. He lost me. And honestly, that's the best revenge I could have ever asked for.